Okay, well, let's get into level which I incorrectly of last video said was Toasty. It's actually Town Square. We don't go into Toast. Let's get or let's go over the homeworld first. You're just gonna I guess this is the first portal we're coming out of, so I'll kind of just um typically probably gonna be wanting to like hold something out of a portal. In this case, you're going to charge in this direction, take a line towards worry about any through here, you'll auto collect those intention. Out of this, like I mentioned at the notes of the last video, charging jump out of stops. See how I started charging jump here? Um, you get up to speed quicker, basically. In this case, there's actually a really obscure mechanic that affects Spyro's charge direction here. When something is just off screen, it's not loose gems, but it's like enemies or like chests. Spyro actually has a very slight magnetism towards them. In this case, it's going to be enemy at the bottom of this ramp. It actually makes you start to charge a little bit off center, which makes us take a bad line. So what I do when I'm charging jumping out of this, like tap. I believe it would be left or whatever direction, basically the opposite of the enemy. Um, sorry, I'm not very good at visualizing things sometimes, but basically just tap the opposite direction. See, otherwise you get locked onto this enemy that I'm talking about. Yeah, I've kind of tapped this way a little bit to hold a more center line. And it's literally just a tap like before the camera even turns. That's it. Like I said in the last video, jump into the whirlwind diagonally up into the whirlwind so you're moving forward and up and get carried up. Again, very obscure mechanic here. You absolutely do not have to worry about it. Even if you're a top level runner, honestly, this is like a 1 frame time save, but you can actually do something called a skitter. This is maybe not the best place to introduce skittering as a technique, but I'll just mention it now that you can do it here. If you're a beginner, don't worry about it. I'll explain what skittering is in a later video when it's actually relevant. In this case, just know that you can do one right here as you're landing and it saves 1 frame. Like literally 1 frame. So let me first mention about Town Square. I do it a little bit of a unique way. So um like I'll mention this several times that like you do not have to only learn off of this video or this run, or you can experiment with like what multiple other people do. I would say for the other route, probably the best person's runs to check out would be Laura. Um anyway, I will go over it's very small stuff here, but I'll go over basically what I do here. See, charge down and then instantly I'm jumping and then turning this way. Don't worry about that first red gem. I get this second red gem. Do that. And this is kind of the level where cycles are introduced also. You see like these bowls running around. We won't get these ones over here in any percent, but these are just an example of the types of enemies that are in this level. That they are moving. They actually only move like when the camera is pointed towards them. And that's sometimes true even when they're not actually on cam. Like on camera. Like there's enemies like back over here behind some couple wall like a couple walls that are actually affected um just when you're looking in this direction kind of. So it's a bit weird. Um so if your cycles end up all like messed up, don't worry about it too much. Like when you're like a beginner, your movement's not going to be consistent, so your cycles will probably be a little bit off. All the enemies in this level are like one and two much for the most part. So keep that in mind. Like the biggest in the world. Oops, full screen again. If you do like miss, you saw that I touched that dragon on that side. I got that first chest, then came back over here and touched that dragon on that side. Then out of this dragon, we're gonna charging jump twice. And up here, and we're gonna do another, just like in Stonehill. This one's a little bit tougher. This one's a little bit tougher, but this is an important trick for multiple categories. So I would recommend learning this. It's gonna save a lot of time. It's gonna be frustrating at first, especially if you're not familiar with the movement of Spyro. And feel free to do it slower. Like that, like obviously, this is but the video that I'm learning off of right now is the fastest ever, or that I'm teaching you off of right now is the fastest ever run into Nasty's World, which is basically where the collection portion of the run ends. Um, so obviously this is a top level run. Like, don't worry about it if you can't do it exactly like that. If you have to stand there for a second, like, do the trick slow, it's still worth it. This saves a lot of time to go this way rather than the casual way. Yep, just grind up it. Use like a 50-50. I kind of mentioned it in Stonehill. See if I can frame here to pause for an example. I call it 50-50 because, like, Tony Hawk 50-50 grind. But you know, but basically you want to be more parallel than perpendicular. Obviously you want to tilt in a little bit so you're still charging onto the ledge, but you do not want to have like Spyro like pointed with his nose towards this. You don't want it like directly aligned towards this because you will bonk. You just because of how like grinding onto ledges basically, what I like to call it, works in this game. You do want to be angled diagonally, like, and flame charge into this bull. Obviously this bull's on the correct cycle for me because I did everything fast. If he's not right there, you still want to make sure to get him because he's a 10 gem. So make sure to get that bull. Out of this dragon, right away we're gonna hold analog so that we're going right into this chest and get the flames onto this chest immediately. This is the first fan chest of the run. We basically need to flame them 3 times within a certain amount of time, and they explode. And you can also flame charge fan chests, as you'll see. 1, 2, and then on the third one, you see I start to move forward. I start to walk forward, and then on the flame, once the flame comes out, I charge immediately after the flame, so that this homes in. Um, Basically, if you're not familiar with Spyro at all when you're learning this, um, chests, enemies, all that, when you flame them, the gems aren't supposed to home in. When you charge through things, they're supposed to home in, but not with flame. This basically combines flame and charge, and it like tricks the game into thinking that we charged through it, so that it does home, and it saves a bunch of time everywhere. Like I mentioned in the last video, it is, pretty tough as a beginner. It's spacing and timing, but not only that, you got to move your fingers pretty quick while having a firm grasp of the control of Spyro, and um, different enemies and chests require you to be different amounts of distance away, which makes everything a little funky, but it just takes practice like anything else. Don't get too frustrated if flame charges are not clicking with you right away, because I know they didn't for me. Come in here, charge through these, and charge down into this bowl, and as soon as we charge down into this bowl, we're going to start going this way. This bowl's a 5 gem. He's technically an optional gem, but I would recommend getting him. 5 gem. Then here's what I do. This is unique to my route for this guy being on this cycle. I'm gonna turn here and get this guy. Now, what I will mention about getting this guy is if you get him too fast, like too far over here, it actually messes with the bull behind. And this guy's just a 1 gem. So honestly, like, this isn't even the smartest guy to get. I'm just kind of stuck in my ways with this route. I like doing it like this. And when you do it all correct, you get the most amount of gems with this route. But this guy is finicky because sometimes he'll be too far along and you just won't get him sometimes. If you did things too fast or like manip the camera a certain way, he'll be too far back. And if you kill him, it actually messes with this bull. Um, this one, I think we're good. Yep. You see how the bull kept running around there? That's good. If you like kill him too early, you'll kind of see the bull like run kind of into the fountain almost. You'll be able to recognize it basically if it happens to you. And basically we want him to keep running because we're gonna come around here and he'll be right there for us to kill them. Around back, get all these gems, charge through everything, and then he's right there. Easy peasy. Then these guys are the guys that I mentioned at the start of the video that were behind a couple walls that the cycle can't get messed up if you just like did movement even a little bit different. But here they're on pretty much perfect because we're just gonna go right down the line, charge through both those, then jump charge. Jump charging is pretty important. Not too far back, but that's all right. Basically, if you try to just change direction, pivot on the ground, if you have momentum in one way and hold the other direction, what you'll get is a very slow pivot, which we want to avoid those in all situations, more or less, because it loses a bunch of time. But so what we want to do is jump and then start holding the direction the other way. And once we're faced the direction that we want to, then we start charging again. Jump and charge. Then charge through that chest, and we want to come back around this dragon. And I do a roll here. Depends on your angle. You can either roll or you can just kind of run around and like touch somewhere in this vicinity. And yeah, it's gonna be the end of town square. Uh, Not the longest level by any means, but it is kind of complicated with the cycles and stuff. So, but I kind of pointed out the one enemy that had a 5 gem and the other enemy that had a 10 gem. The other ones are 1s and 2s. So if you do end up missing like a couple of them, it's not the biggest deal in the world. That's why That's why I mentioned at the start of the last video, like look at these numbers in your splits and like have these numbers. You can just copy the ones in my splits, but like what I would do is kind of like make it customized to your own number, so that you understand them and like are on account that you recognize, and like recognize whether you need to start getting more gems than usual or less, because in this category you don't want to turn around for like gems that you like make a mistake on or miss, because it obviously matters the value of them, but like you have to think about everything in terms of gems per second. If you miss a 1 gem or a 2 gem that you would have normally gotten, in most cases you don't want to turn around for that, because it's simply just not worth it, at that point. Like there's like we have more gems routed in than we need to exit Dreamweavers at the end, basically. So always keep that in mind, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and end. Um, this is the last artisans level, so after this we're gonna have a trick. We're gonna have a wall glide and basically the end of artisans and the start of peacekeepers. Then we're gonna get into our first peacekeepers level. So thanks for watching. The learning's going good.